Hello, my friend. Welcome to the library. How can I help you? So you wish to learn about density, the metric system, and even temperature. A fine choice. You see, I can help you with the metric system, but I am unfortunately swamped with work, so I cannot help you with those other topics. However, what I can do is magically teleport you to my other friends who will happily teach you about density and temperature. How do I have magic? Don't ask so many questions. Anyway, once you get there, make sure to take plenty of good notes because I know these can be easily said, but sometimes they can be forgotten. So, good luck and have fun.
Density. Density is just a word for how much an object or substance can really take up. Another way to put density is the amount of mass per unit. The formula for density is D equals m/v. D for density, m for mass, and v for volume. For example, a styrofoam cup versus a glass cup. The styrofoam cup carries less density, which would allow the styrofoam cup to float rather than sink, compared to the glass cup, which would automatically sink.
Now that you know what density, mass,
Alright,
and
so now that you
volume
know
must
this,
answer this
we're
question.
going to solve this question. So what is the volume of a 63.4 gram piece of metal with a density of 12.86 grams? Do this, we're going to find what type of equation will qualify for this, okay? So the way this works, so if you're looking for a mass, we're left with density times volume. And if you're looking for volume, we're left with mass over density. And lastly, if we're looking for density, we're left with mass over volume. So now that we know which equation we should use, we're going to use this one, okay? So now we're going to divide 63.4 over 12.86 grams. We're going to cancel these two out. We'll leave the centimeters, okay? And the answer is 4.93 centimeters squared, which is equal to volume.
So you're back. I'm sure you learned a lot about density. Now, let us talk about the metric system, shall we? Firstly, the metric system was created by a man called Gabriel Monton in France. And thanks to him, as well as how fast travel spreads around the world, the metric system is used practically everywhere in the world. Mostly sorted. Why do I say that? Well, because you and I, my friend, are in practically the one country that doesn't use the metric system. I don't know why, maybe because we're so proud, I don't know. If you're asking what that other country is, it's England, because England doesn't abide to nobody. And don't hold me to account of this, but the other countries also happen to be Thailand. But again, don't hold me to it, I need to confirm it myself. Anyway, let's continue. The metric system has common SI units, just like other systems of measurement. For mass, you would normally use grams. For length, you would normally use meters. And for temperature, you would normally use Kelvin. As well as volume, you would use liters, and time, you would normally use seconds. I don't know why that's specific in the metric system, but Now, for measuring mass, you would like I said before, you would have to use meters. Now, before we continue on, the metric system uses common prefixes when measuring units. At the top, we would have mega, then we have kilo, centi, milli, micro, and nano. Nano is the lowest and mega is the top. When you use these prefixes, you would put those first and then put meter or whatever other unit measurement it is. Now, for context, every 1,000 meters is one kilometer, and every meters, and every 1 million meters is 1 megameter, and it's the same thing for below. If you have 0.001 meters, then you would have a millimeter. It's the same process. Now you might be saying, well, how can I use meters? Well, you see this ruler? Normally in the United States, you would normally use this side that has all the inches, which you would use. But on this side, well, the small numbers is centimeters. Now for every 12 inches, you would have 30 centimeters. Now, as you can see on this ruler, well, you probably can't see it now, but anyway, it's fairly simple and quite smaller, which means it's more accurate, at least for just your eye, to see how accurate to measure it. Whereas in inches, you would have to go a lot deeper than before. So yeah, that can be kind of confusing. Now, the metric system also measures volume a little bit differently than you're used to, which is for most Americans. the metric system would use liters to measure volume, like for example measuring liquids like gas, water, anything really. Now here's a little tricky. You would normally start off with milliliters. It's smaller. For every 1,000 milliliters, you would have 1 liter. Like for example, if you go to Canada and if you try to get gas for your car, they measured it in liters because they use the metric system. If you went there yourself and you wanted to pre-calculate how much you're gonna pay when you get your gas, it takes 4 liters to make 1 gallon. So whatever price that you get in the liters in Canada, you might want to times that by 4. And yeah, it can be pretty expensive because gas ain't cheap these days. And finally, when measuring mass, you would have to use grams. Now like the prefixes that we talked about before, the grams is the same thing. For every 1,000 grams you would have, that's 1 kilogram. For every 0.001 grams you would have, that's 1 milligram. It's fairly simple and fairly easy to use, if I may add. Now you might be saying, how can I use grams? Well, it's simple. Let's say you want to make a whole batch of cookies. Every pastry chef in the world, and many of those in the US, would tell you that instead of using volume measurements, they weigh the ingredients. But instead of using pounds like you would normally want to use, they would use grams instead, as it's easier to measure grams, as it just goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As in pounds, it's every 16 pounds you would have to, every 16 ounces you would get 1 pound, and that can be kind of tricky, because who has that time to measure? Whereas grams, it's simple and simplistic. It's easy for you to use. All right, that was the entire metric system. Now let's get on to temperature, shall we? Have fun.
Hi, and welcome today, and I'm going to be teaching you how to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius and how to convert Celsius into Fahrenheit. But first, let me teach you the basic things. The Fahrenheit scale is used all over the United States, Great Britain, and is also used in engineering and science, while Celsius is used in 5 degrees. We plug that in, which gives us 5 divided by 9, F minus 32. We subtract 5 by 32, which gives us negative 27. And then what we do is we divide 5 divided by 9, and then we multiply that with negative 27, which gives us negative 15 degrees. And then from there, it's 9 divided by 5, Celsius plus 32, which the example is soup, which is 99 degrees. And then 9 divided by 5, 99 plus 32, we add this first, which is 131 degrees. And then what we do is we multiply 1.8, which is this answer, 9 divided by 5, by 131, which gives us 235.8 degrees. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
One of the units of temperature is called a Kelvin, and it symbolizes K. For the Kelvin scale, water freezes at 273 K and boils at 373 K. To convert Celsius into Kelvin, the steps are to add the number of Celsius plus 273, and you get the answer in Kelvin.
So you're back. I hope you took very good notes and you were able to find that density, the metric system, and temperature were fairly easy to know. Now, I hope you have an amazing day. But before you leave, a bit of advice. I know it may seem like there's dark clouds always around you, but always remember, while you cannot see the sunlight, it is truly there. You just have to be able to believe it. Good day.